Hello? Yeah, I heard some. Bam! Borg, you're good, bro. How are you? Are you on vacation? Are you? Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
great.
Can you hear
I think
me?
we have a little bit of a
Okay, you can't hear me.
yes.
Okay. So you know what, Borg? I'll leave it all to
Yeah,
you.
it's a bit
I'll
of a
leave it all
delay, I
to
think.
you because of the delay. All right. I'll speak to you later. Enjoy. Have fun. Okay. Very good. See you later, buddy. Bye bye. Enjoy. Have fun.
Okay. Okay then, guys. Here I am, ready to talk to you guys about some mind setting, cause it's some important stuff. Yeah. Hopefully everything's good. I think we have a bit of a delay, but without any other speakers on, this should be pretty dandy. So let's get to it. The first thing I promised you guys a bit earlier was I was going to give you guys something that was all about what I call the secret to life. And I think it's also the secret to trading at the same time. It's a bit of both because, answer to life is also the answer to trading. So without further ado, here it is. And I think it's really stemming from the idea of beliefs, how beliefs function, how they work, and really how all that fits together. That really, I think a lot of people have trouble in everything with their lives about their beliefs and their emotions and how they're feeling and all these things. I think that they really have a lot of this kind of trouble because at a deep level their beliefs are just not geared in the right direction. I think that when we're all kids and stuff, we're very young and we're very happy and we have this kind of outgoing, really great mindset. But I think that a lot of things like the school system try to alter that to kind of fit everybody into society. And one of the things they do to do that is perfectionism. Really, a belief that we should be different than what we are. Kind of an idea that yeah, it's like perfectionism really just stems from this idea that things should be different. So it's like in trading, I think there are a lot of people out there who are newbies or who have been here for multiple years and they're like, I've been here as long as BR, why am I not making 10 million bucks a day or something? And they beat themselves up over something that like they can't actually fix in the present moment or it's in the past. People really have regret, they have anger, they have all these kind of they have all that kind of stuff balled up inside them. And a simple belief that will fix all of this kind of stuff is basically just if they accept that their life and how they're doing should be the way that it is. If they accept that everything is as it should be because that's the way it is, basically no negative emotion can exist in the past or the present. Everybody got that? Uh, yeah, so basically it's the fix to all negative emotion is just to accept that all should be, as it is. Now, this is hard for all negative pain that we're feeling. We're feeling like, okay, this isn't good, or this should be better, or this or that, and we're really just feeling that way about it, that things should be different. But when you can't control the past or the present, it's a result of past events. All you're doing is you're stopping yourself from being happy and enjoying a lot of things. So yeah, that's a simple belief about life, but it also majorly applies to trading, that we can accept where we are and how we're doing and those kind of things. We accept that this is how it should be, exactly where we are. And in the future, we can make a much brighter and better future. And that's really all it comes down to. Okay, so that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. Hopefully that's pretty clear to everybody. You can write that down, think about it. But if you can accept at a deep level that all is as it should be, negative emotions can't really stem up. And yeah. Okay, so then I wanted to also get down to the subconscious mind, since MT's saying I'm all expert on that kind of stuff. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about it. So I mentioned last time I was on, interviewed by BR and stuff, that basically the subconscious mind is much more powerful than the conscious mind. Now, how much more powerful is it than the conscious mind, and how do we measure this? Well, here's what it comes down to. The conscious mind can process about 2,000 bits of information per second. Now, that's pretty good, you know, it's a decent rate of processing information. The subconscious mind can process 4 billion bits of information per second. If you want to put that into a numbers comparison, basically, the subconscious mind is 2 million times more powerful than the conscious mind. Okay, everybody got that? 2 million with an M. Million. 2 million times more powerful. And basically, that means that if you are trying to fight the subconscious mind, if you're trying to get past it, to just have your way without reprogramming it, you can't win. Now, I like to think of this as a wrestling match, okay? On one side of the field, we got a guy, okay? He's 6 feet tall, he's buff, he's strong, and he's ready for this fight, okay? 6 feet tall. On the other side, we have another guy who is 12 million feet tall, okay? 2 million times taller than this guy. And he's the same as him in almost every regard. So, who do you think's going to win this wrestling match? The guy who is 6 feet tall, or the guy who is 12 million feet tall? Well, as long as the guy's head is inside the atmosphere, I can kind of assume the guy who's 12 million feet tall is going to win the wrestling match. Basically, I'm just saying that you cannot beat the subconscious mind. You have to reprogram it. And the subconscious mind is very much like it's very much like a child at almost every level. It's easy to, it'll basically believe anything and everything. So that's why different people have different strong beliefs, and they have a hard time accepting other people's beliefs that are different than their own, is because like they've been programmed at this deep level, and the subconscious mind changes some of their information, their memories, changes their perception of reality so that they can see, you know, this other reality. And that's kind of just how it works, is that the basically a thing about the law of attraction, how people talk about this kind of thing about how we like attracts like, and you know, that kind of thing. I think of it more like the law of vibration. Basically, we are getting a bunch of sensory inputs all the time from our reality of things that are like money-making opportunities, or things that could be good for us or bad for us, and we perceive so many things at a subconscious level. But as the conscious mind, we only get a very small fraction of that. We only get like one of, you know, this 2 million bits of that information. So our beliefs kind of filter down everything we have. They strain out almost all the other information and get it down to the stuff that we need to focus on, this little tiny bit of sliver of information that we're actually perceiving. And so when it comes down to it, if we change our beliefs, basically, we enter a whole different world where we kind of change the data to something that we actually want. Because most of us are programmed to try to get the things that we don't want. You know, I like to think of a good example of this as our buddy Chuck Rhodes in Billions in season 1. You know, because like, for those of you who don't know, go and watch the show. It's great and stuff. But our buddy Chuck in season 1 is just so self-destructive. He keeps choosing options that are always like tearing himself apart. If you want to see a good example of this, see his fight with Wendy in the 12th episode, because it is just hilarious how many ways he finds to tear himself apart. And this is likely because he has beliefs, you know, that are tied to self-destruction, that are tied to being unworthy and things like that. And I think that this is really the way that a lot of people are programmed by the school system. They're told they're not perfect, they're not like this, they're not like that, they should be this other way that they actually aren't. And so we develop beliefs that are very bad for us, and they kind of alter how we perceive the information, you know? So hopefully everybody got that. I'm going to take a short second break from mind setting to point out this UC trade we have here going on. Pinky's also drawing some attention to, because this UC trade's a pretty important trade right here. It has, I think the main thing that's really calling this trade that's very useful is we started out at the BB bands on this trade, and then we got the 1 and 4s, and you guys know how 1 and 4s work, so Jazz is like all over telling you guys how this was. And you know, we had perfect entry out there at about 49. That's when I took a little bit of profit on it. I got it a little bit early since I was coming on and all that, but still. Yeah, I don't think I can get controls. I'm using the web version at the moment, MT. But I'll point it out later. I'm gonna go back to mind setting at the moment. But thanks for the offer. So Next, I wanted to talk about stuff a little bit more about programming the mind and kind of getting to that deep core level to change beliefs. And I think that some good books and some good authors, of course, to go to. You can think about Dr. Wayne Dyer's stuff. He's got some really useful stuff there. I like Stuart Wild's stuff. He's got some of his stuff's a little out there, but he's got some great mind-setting tips. But yeah, there's some really good things like that, and just classic books like Think and Grow Rich that can really change beliefs. But I think at a large level, to change like beliefs as adults, we need to consciously decide to. And most people don't really decide to do that until really late in their lives, when they like either hit rock bottom or they just decide to take a look at their lives deeply. And so I think ultimately in the future it'd be great if we had a reformed school system, one that really taught happiness at a core level, as well as teaching just classic things like money management. But I think happiness and a real belief like that is necessary as more of an Eastern philosophy thing than a Western style of teaching. That it's really, if you can get people to be happy, they kind of make a much better society. And I really think that if we could have that in our school systems, it would make many people much, much happier. So that's something I'd like to change in the future. But yeah. Now, let's talk a little more specifically about trading mindsets. You guys ready for that? Talking trading now. So one thing I think a lot of people have an issue with, that trading in the zone touches on, so deeply, is that there's really this that the fault is really in the psychology of us and how we're programmed against things that are like with successful trading. So that, I think a lot of people have this issue because as humans we're designed to do things like take profits early and let losses run, to try to avoid all these kind of things that are actually really useful to us in trading. So a lot of our trading psychology is pretty much inverse to what it needs to be to some degree. And so it's really a matter of reprogramming those beliefs through kind of action, experience, and things like that to alter that, as well as expectations. I think Trading in the Zone, I've read the book about 5 times at the moment. I really can't get enough of it. I took a break, read a little bit of Trading in the Living, which Kevin recommended. So thanks, Kevin, for that recommendation. It's a pretty great book right there. Also gives some good information about understanding markets, but it also has some good psychology. So like when it comes to expectations around trading, I think that this is a main issue because people think that trading will be extremely easy because it looks like it is. It looks like it'll be the easiest way to earn money is you just hit this button and then, price goes your way and then that's it. And to a large degree, it actually is that easy, but there's so many different beliefs that kind of stand in our way, so we can't actually do that like super easily. And so I think one problem is that a lot of people think that market analysis will fix all their problems. They think that if I just analyze the system, I just analyze the market, I look at it over and over and over again, I'm going to see it, it's all going to click into place and just boom. Now, to some degree, this can be true, and I mean, like, this system here, we have the best. So, you can really dive into this and you can really understand a lot, but you won't be able to make much progress if you're constantly wrestling the 12 million foot tall guy. It'll be standing in your way no matter what, to being able to get to this. So you really have to get your subconscious mind on the right way. And so one of the things about that is expectations. When we have expectations that are met, we feel happy. And we have expectations that are not met, we feel unhappy. And Trading in the Zone pretty much argues that this is pretty universal. So one thing the book suggests is to look at kind of a larger system, to look to the casino model of things, to look to a zoomed out picture of how we trade. So even at a small level, if you start out in this room, you have a lot of tools that are pretty much on your side. You can design a pretty easy edge. Let's say, you're fresh here, you don't really know a lot. It would be pretty easy to design something that has at least a 60% edge after spread and commissions and things like that, so that you could win a successful 6 out of 10. And that this is good enough to beat even some of the best hedge funds on Wall Street and just all around the world, that a 6 out of 10 edge can really like crush the world. But I think it's just the perfectionism that constantly drives us, and expecting that we can win every trade that really stops a lot of people from making the progress. Now you can make a lot of progress on making your system better and better, but if you're constantly beating yourself up about it, it becomes so difficult, So I'd like to touch on that, and I'd also like to touch on the fact that Trading for a living argues that there are about 3 different goals that every trader should have, and traders usually only have one of these goals. So in trading for a living, it says here are the 3 goals basically. That 1, you need to survive, and 2, you need to have a consistently rising equity curve, nail consistency, and 3, have the huge profits. Now everybody comes to trading wanting the huge profits, but you really have to get down the psychology to be able to nail the first 2 in the first place often before you can get the huge profits. Now some people will be able to nail huge profits right off the start, but it's rare, and it's rare that they'll be able to keep them without the right psychology. And without, of course, the right money management rules and various things like that, because it's something that psychology is very, very difficult about when it comes to properly managing risk and reward and things like that. So I'm also going to touch on that one for a sec, but I think a lot of trouble that a lot of newbies have in this room is that they start off with unreasonable expectations, so they're constantly feeling beat up by the market and things like that, and that on top of that they don't really get consistency before being able to nail the huge profits. And I think that consistency is really the start to a lot of this, is just that you have to kind of be able to consistently make the profits before you can scale up. And I think that a lot of that stems from just consistency really stems from being able to nail it at a small risk to reward, like at a small risk and so a small reward. So if you start out with, say, like $1,000 account, you know, what I think you need to start off with there doing is the 2% or 3% risk per trade amount, so that, you know, it would take 33.3 repeating or trades, or, you know, 50 trades to wipe you out if you lost all of them, kind of thing. So that it really eases you into being able to nail this down. And when, of course, you're first starting out, do 10 cents a pip, still you're starting to get it. And then up it to about 2% risk per trade when you're really starting to get it. Once you are a master, once you are winning every week or every month or every day, whatever your measurement is there, then I think that's when the necessary jump is to risking, you know, 4%, 5%, 6%, 8%, you know, whatever per trade, when you really are getting it down. Because you can't really just jump in expecting that you can kill it on, you know, I'm going to risk 8% a trade and I'm going to master it here. That's where the huge profits come in, is when you can put 6 or 8% on a trade, because you're winning 90% of the time, so it's very rare that you ever lose and you can just nail it. But when you're starting out, you can't do that, so you can't make the huge profits because they come with huge losses. Now, trading for a living recommends you never risk more than 2% a trade, but the guy there, of course, clearly doesn't have a system like we have, you know? And, yeah, I also got that 8% thing from Pinky, so, you know, he knows what's up. He stacks like 4 times on the 2% a trade. It's a pretty brilliant thing he does there. But, you know, he knows what the market's most likely going to do, because it's very rare that Pinky ever loses, or that, you know, Jazz Fran ever loses, or Anissa ever loses, you know, because they really have a system that is very tight that can nail such a high accuracy that only things like a flash crash or some unexpected news can really get them. And even then, they got a plan to deal with it. So I think that's something everybody needs, is to first start out in a mechanical stage of trading where they have a simple edge. And I think that the simple edge needs to have not too many rules. So it needs to be not that optimized. It needs to nail something like 70% accuracy. So you win 7 out of 10 trades on about even risk to reward. And that's really all you need to turn a profit. So you can study the market while you're learning that kind of stuff. You know, study the videos, study how everybody is doing this. But you also need to make money in the process. So I don't care what your edge is. Everybody's wants a different one. But basically, I think you should design an edge that wins about that much on even risk to reward, and just do that while you're, so like put some money into an account, and so you feel like you're making profit, which is going to edge away at the subconscious mind's idea that, you know, you're a loser and you'll never make money. If you can start making small amounts of money, it really goes against that belief and shows you that there is a difference there. And even the fact that if you can make 100% on the year, you're outperforming, you know, the best hedge funds, and that you can actually do that with such a simple edge in this place. And so I think that that's really a key, is to nailing that down, that you have to really just do that. Yeah, so hopefully you guys got most of that. Anything you guys want me to talk about specifically, I am open to suggestions. I got a few more topics, but I'd like to get some input. Okay, risk to reward, yeah. R and R. Yeah, I'll get to the other topics in a second, but thanks for bringing that one up, MT. That is a big topic, risk and reward. So often a problem we've had here is the fact that in scalping, a common thing is to trade with the suggested like 5 take profit, 15 stop loss, or 3 take profit, 15 stop loss, and it's really just a problem for people who are just getting into this, because unless you can nail 90% plus, you really cannot win. You'll end up losing things really fast. So what you need is often an even take profit and stop loss, sometimes even better. So it depends on what you want to use, but I'd recommend something like 10-10, 20-20, something like that. You can also, of course, do larger open TPs when you really know what you're doing, but you want to nail it so that more often than not, when you win more, it has the even amount of take profit and stop loss. So Anissa's got some good suggestions on trades you can take that are with 10 and 10s. Kevin the Sniper has great ones where you can ride them open. Pinky might be the master of open TP when it comes to some of these trades. He's risking like 10 or 20 pips, but then he makes like 100 or something, or some crazy number. Of course, Mercy does stuff all like that, and it's really just that you have to have a proper risk to reward ratio. Now, I know Trading in the Zone recommends something like a 3-to-1 risk to reward ratio. I don't think you need 3-to-1. I think you just need 1-to-1 in a place like this, because 70-80% accuracy is so mind-numbingly easy here for something that even the best analysts can never get like close to. I mean, the casino model, like if you look at casinos that win 52 to 48, like they're winning 52 out of 100. Now, how many places in like the academic world can you get 52 out of 100 and that be a winning thing? Like, I mean, honestly, you score 52 on a test, somebody tells you that's a failure. That's ugh. But you score 52 out of 100 at a casino as their model, and the average casino makes something like, on Las Vegas, makes about $73 million a year on that tiny 4% to 4.5% edge. And that's really just what happens when you have a nice system that has an edge in the markets and risk to reward that is equal. That's just a big one. So hopefully I covered that one. Okay. Any other topics? Okay, let's see what Monday's got to say. He's always hilarious. Rather be broke. Okay, this seems like definitely an interesting one. Also, yeah, MT, I'll explain some mind setting exercises to fix Monday's thing. Hands, I'll also get to you in a second if you can remind me. But yeah, okay, so Monday, self-sabotage, feeling like you don't want profits. Okay, this is this can be a big one. I want to go back to the Millionaire Mind, the secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Bobby Axelrod, our buddy in the room here, recommended this book to us like a year and a half ago. I wasn't even in the room, but I watched the recorded video on MT's channel. But Secrets of the Millionaire Mind is a fantastic book. It's just really nails down all these kind of things. One of the things it nails down is that people often say that rich people are really bad and they're evil and all these kind of things. And so the guy goes through a story where he gets like a nice car and he's like driving down poor neighborhoods to do like charity work and stuff. And so he keeps getting, like, one time his car gets keyed, and another time like a bunch of guys drive up behind him and shoot beer cans through his sunroof and stuff. But it's really trying to point out the fact that a lot of people basically don't like the rich because they often resent the rich at some level because they want to be them. So what their belief system kind of says is that people with money must have somehow cheated. So that's kind of their rationalization for why they don't have money, is that the rich people, cheated and they did this thing, and since I'm a person with principles, I can't be rich. And that really is just such a horrible belief to have, because it holds them back from being rich, and it really stops them from being able to achieve anything forward in being rich, because whenever they do, even if they want money and they're trying to go after it, the subconscious mind will sabotage them at every turn. A good example of people resenting the rich also might be go back to Billions season 1, because like there's a good one. If we go to the fact that Axe made money on 9/11 by shorting the airlines and by shorting like overseas hotels and things on the European markets, and so he makes a bunch of money and he uses it for charity work to help the fire department, to build a firm that will make a bunch of people money, to put the kids of the dead traders through college and all these kind of things. So he does all this great work, and yet people are just like, he benefited off terrorism, he's evil. And the reason I think that a lot of people thought that immediately in the story is just because people resent the rich so much because they want to beat them. And so at some level, all of us pretty much are born with a belief, or rather our society conditions us to think that being rich is bad, or that pursuing money is detrimental, yet we all need money and want money and all those kind of things. And so I think that really the fix to this is kind of accepting that money is a good thing, because it's not really so much the love of money that's the root of all evil. I like to quote the rich dad from Rich Dad Poor Dad on this one, but it's the lack of money that is the root of all evil. And this can be true, it cannot be true, but if you can accept the belief that money is good and money is a tool for good, then this allows you really to at a deeper level, be able to get through this. Okay, let's see. Monday is going to re-comment on this one. It feels like I'm afraid of the power of money and will be exposed to everyone. Okay, Monday, so this is the specifics. So you feel like everybody's going to mooch off you Monday, or you feel like people will think like you should always pay for dinner, or people will want to angle after you for your money? What specifically? There can be a lot of things there. Mooched. Okay, yeah. So the thing about money Monday is that it's often power. So if you go to dinner with somebody and you're the rich guy and they're like, okay, you have to pay for dinner. The truth is, you're the one with the money, so you can say, you kind of have the power over them to either pay for it or not. You can say like, how about this time you do it? Or you could do it one time and say, next time you're paying, that kind of thing. Because money, to a large degree, is power, and this is not really a problem, see, because people think that, oh, when I'm rich, people are going to be angling and people are going to try to kidnap me or my kids or this or that. This is going to be a problem here, or this is going to be a problem there. Most of these problems are not actually there. They're kind of over-imagined things based out of beliefs that are really geared to keep us from being, keep us from being rich. They're trying to be excuses to not make a bunch of money, And so, that's really just how it goes. Hopefully that helped. Let's see. Yeah, so that's about it for that topic, I believe. I was going to answer a question for MT and Hans earlier. I'm trying to remember what those were. Anybody remind me? Exercises, yes. Okay. Oh yeah, Hans, your thing with the setup. Okay. I'm going to answer MT, then I'm going to head to you, because, I think I can help you out with that one. So exercises on the mind setting. A first thing I believe is you need to get rid of some of the negativity, and I think that simple things that don't require that much effort are probably the best way to handle these. I'm going to give you a couple ideas. So one challenge that's really changed a lot of my life, is to make me even happier than I was, because I was pretty happy even 8 months ago. I was really just blissing out a lot of the time. But something that made that even 10 times better, I did this thing from the Millionaire Mind called a complain challenge. So I did it with my dad and stuff, and basically what happens in the complain challenge is whenever you complain and you blame and justify, you basically have to start over. So your goal is to not blame, complain, or justify your complaints for 7 days straight. And if you can do this, basically you're not feeding the subconscious mind a bunch of negativity all the time. So basically then it's left being fed with a lot more positive stuff all the time. And when it's fed with positivity, the mind gets happier and better, and it naturally gives more love back to you. Because it's like the golden rule. So with the golden rule, it's they say treat others as you want to be treated. Nobody really ever said why you should do that. The real reason you should do that is because if you treat others badly, the subconscious mind treats you badly. If you treat others well, then the subconscious mind treats you well. So directly, however you treat people or think of people, so if you're always judging people, this will cause you to have negative effects on your own mind. So if you can start to throw a monkey wrench in that with a complain challenge, it is massively beneficial. So that's the first exercise. Another one I'm going to recommend that's really easy is just affirmations. I think that everybody should put together a list of 10 like trading affirmations or so and say them a couple times a day in front of a mirror. So all you have to do is just go in front of a mirror and say your affirmations. You just look at yourself in the face and say them. This is pretty useful after 21 days. It can sometimes take people up to 90, but affirmations here really just get to the subconscious mind directly, and they change that. So I think that's a really useful one. The third one, and probably the final one I'm going to give you, like there's some great ones with visioneering I'd recommend, but some of those can be a little more advanced and a little more committal. But I think one of the best ways to do it is the Dr. Wayne Dyer's like 6-minute, 41-second video on YouTube has a thing for when you're going to sleep. I personally just love listening to this every night before I go to sleep, and I kind of go to sleep during it, sometimes after it. But basically, he's nailing down a solid belief that everything is as it should be, and that really, this world is great and all those kind of things. And I think if you take it that way, I've experienced that whenever I use this, I never have bad dreams anymore, and this is pretty useful because when you're sleeping, this is when the subconscious mind really gets to you and really changes, you to be either more positive or more negative. So if you can get a positive spin on that, that will really affect things. So those are my 3 recommendations. Just do a complain challenge where you try to not complain, blame, or justify or just even complain for 7 days straight. Try that. Whenever you fail, start over. That's my first recommendation. Second one being the affirmations. Just design 10 of them around anything you want. Do them every day in front of the mirror. And the third one being the sleep right before you go to sleep, And I think that's the best way to do it. Okay, hands. Yeah, let's see. Okay, books. Yeah, books. There's some great books on this one. Best books for this. There's so many good ones. Like, let's see. So, Secrets of the Millionaire Minds. I think that's a really good one. Just for any walk of life for being rich by any means. Secrets of the Millionaire Mind is great. Think and Grow Rich, I think, really nails down a lot of success principles. I think that's a solid one. If you want to know a lot more about law of attraction kind of stuff and just how the mind works at a deep level, I'd recommend The Game of Life and How to Play It. It's got some, it does have some like religious stuff in it, but I think that, those who don't want to go that far or are really, scientifically background and stuff, I recommend you take it very metaphorically, but it's got some great stuff in there about non-resistance and things like that. So that's a great book. I like The Alchemist a lot. It's a very good metaphorical tale of a lot of how life works and the subconscious mind's interpretation of reality. I think that's a fantastic book. I probably know a ton of books that I'm not thinking of right now. There are a ton of really good Stuart Wilde books that I think can really help you see things differently. Like, I like his books like The Little Money Bible is fantastic. It's on YouTube and everything. Is that, of course, Trading in the Zone and Trading for a Living, I think, are both great audiobooks that can, both great books that are just great. And yeah, Rain, The Game of Life and How to Play It. That's a great book. Definitely recommend it. Okay, so that's what I got for books. Now, yeah, so hands, getting to a setup for something that's a basic edge. It's a little hard to say because everyone likes different edges a little bit differently than others, but I'm trying to find something that will be consistent or make money or anything like that. One I can recommend is the first edge I ever really designed. It's a little bit crude, but I think it's very easy to understand because I wanted to design something that had 3 steps in it. So I hope I can explain this well, but basically the 3 steps, I first thought good trades were like this one we had on the UC earlier with a reversal. So whenever you get a 4-hour signal, I read this as the 4-hour wants to take price, whether it's a super or it's a small red even, just not blues basically. So if it's an arrow that's a red or a super, because they're way better, I would just read this as price wants to go to the 1-hour orange line. So I would look then, so that's step 1 was to say it was going there. Then I wanted to make sure there were no daily or 8-hour signals directly against me that were supers on the current candle. And then third, for entry, I designed it basically to be off either a 15-minute arrow on a current candle or a bounce off the 15-minute orange line once it's, in the case like the UC, once it's below it, it had a retest up to it and bounces off of it. I didn't really explain that very well. I can write out some rules for it that are a little better than that, but that's the basic explanation. Anissa has some much better entry mechanisms than that. So does Kevin. People that have much tighter stops. But this was something I designed that was pretty basic a while back. And yeah, so just to repeat on that one, the basic steps that I first wrote down, I have a piece of paper with them in front of me. It says, number 1, you look to the 4-hour reversal arrow that's on the current candle. Step number 2, you want no 8-hour daily super arrows on the current candle that hasn't made against you. And then number 3, you want a 15-minute arrow on the current candle or a 15-minute orange road bounce that is, you know, right, like, that's right there. You know, the 15-minute orange road bounce once it's on the side of it. Yeah, so that's pretty much a part of number 1 on the golden ticket that, like, it's a system basically designed off of that it's like that. Now, the golden ticket has so many fantastic things, but I think too many people dive into it trying to nail all of them. And I think that it can take people a while to understand and really, you know, the Borg and also assimilate all the things right there. So I think that if you really want to understand the golden ticket, I recommend starting with just either pick 1 or pick 2 primarily. I like those better. You know, pick 3 if you want to, but just pick one of these, you know, say like number 1, design a simple edge based off of it. So something that's like what I just described there. You know, design an edge that's around the 1 or the 4-hour if you're picking number 1 and test it over 20 trades and try to get something that's 60% accuracy or higher on basic risk to reward. So I think that that's really the thing, is it's mechanical. It's got so few steps that it just makes sense, you know, that there's no if, ands, or buts. There's no room for doubt, because the more complicated a system is, the more steps there are for it to get messed up, basically. There are more chances for it to break. So if you have a system that's 3 steps, like the one I gave you, or if you have one that's 5 steps or anything like that, I think that that's what every newbie needs. Now, things like what JazzFran sees and what Pinky sees these days, you know, PR sees and Issa sees, are a bit more advanced because they take the basic understanding and they have a really good understanding of all these things that factor together. And I think that their steps are a little bit further. But still, if you have a basic edge, you just mechanically get used to it. This will help the subconscious mind understand it. And when it's based off the golden ticket, you know, it's right from it's right there just to be able to succeed off of this kind of stuff. And I think that the golden ticket really nails down the formula that JazzFran has been, you know, preaching forever. And I think that it really gets all that kind of stuff right. But I think that you can't just dive in trying to understand all of it if you don't really have a good understanding of the charts. So I'd say pick one of the systems and really design an edge, or, you know, get an edge from somebody else in specific rules that are, there's no like guesswork in it, that just says, if this is the case, then this, then this, then this. So it's basically a robotic kind of trade. If you can nail that down, eventually you can get to a higher stage of trading that's based on more advanced things that can be like your intuition about when a trade's going to show up, or certain other factors, and the intuitive stage of trading, you know, further forward than just the mechanical. But I'd say start with the mechanical, assimilate the golden ticket, design some systems around different edges, test them, do that kind of work, and you can gain a lot of confidence. And then, you know, soon enough, you're becoming like the best. Yeah, Monday. You're basically like a monkey, but that's not a bad thing. You know, you got to accept where you are, and you got to accept that we are psychologically programmed to not be very good at trading. So if you want to, if you want to get really great at trading, you know, you kind of have to start from a level of using basic tools before you can use the rest of it. Pinky, lucid dreaming. That's such an interesting topic. I am not schooled in exactly how that works. I know that our buddy Bobby Axelrod's been doing some work on that, I believe. I think he told us that last time he was in the room, like a while back. And yeah, lucid dreaming definitely has some interesting potentials, particularly since you can use the subconscious mind to craft the reality that you want in your dreams, so you can alter things, and it's pretty amazing stuff. Talk to Pinky about that; he knows more about it than I do. Yeah, Chris, it's all about monkeys, you know. Yeah, that's just it. Okay, so I think I've answered all of everything so far. Give me some more questions, comments, stuff like that. Anybody got anything for me? I'm an open book. Ask away. uh, besides me talking fast. Okay. Let's see. So, yeah. Maybe I can just solidify a few topics while I wait for some comments, questions, and stuff. Yeah. Okay. I'm on the chart with the golden ticket. Okay, so Monday's asking, what's my favorite color? What is your favorite color? Blue. I mean yellow. had to nail down the Monty Python there. I'm just gonna leave you with that, Monday. Okay, let's see. D0, if you could choose one strategy, what would it be? Yeah, I think that's a good part when it comes to the golden ticket. Yeah, I think all strategies here really stem from the golden ticket. That when you get a basic understanding of the markets, that to exactly kind of what is going on here, you understand why the golden ticket works. So what happens on a trending market basically is that the market is, let's say we have a trend like the UC. The UC is going up. You know, I know there was a little bit of NAFTA news in there that messed with things, but still. So the UC is on this uptrend. It's pretty strong. Now, what happened today with this really strong uptrend is that basically to maintain an uptrend, there have to be constant. So there are bulls and bears in the markets. The bulls are the buyers, the bears are the sellers, basically. So the bears want to take the UC down, the bulls want to take the UC up. So as time goes on, the UC is going up and up and up, and the closer it gets to resistance, like the 1 and 4 hour BB bands, the closer it gets to there, the more power the bears have, because basically those are levels where the bears are waiting to hit price and take it down. So at one point, around a little bit past 10 o'clock, we hit a point where the bears really did kick in, and we even got the 1 and 4 hour arrows showing up after the 15, the 30 supers are on there, and that says, okay, the bears are in control, kicking price down. And so the bears take price down, but the bulls are waiting at the levels like the orange lines. These are the trending lines that are moving averages, basically, where the bulls are waiting to buy at. So as soon as the bears have taken price down so far and they're getting out of their trades, the bulls are taking them and they're buying up. And so that's when we get something like our 15-minute pink there, you know. And I know that some of that's NAFTA news, so it's a little bit different. But really, that's when the number one starts to transition from the number two here, where you have the trade going down, in this case against the trend, and you're then hitting these lines, and these are the levels where the bulls are buying in, and up she goes with the number two system. You guys got that? Hopefully? Okay, yeah. So that's what I'd say about, you know, the golden ticket is something to really take into account for. So if you're often trading reversals, what you're going to want to do is you probably want to have the 1 in 4 hours with you. Jazz has like such a mind-blowingly excellent video on that. Like his video from July is just absolutely fantastic. Everybody was saying, you know, this is the key. Well, it is. So, you know, don't look any further than that. Just understand what Jazz is telling you in that video about how to take trades that are mostly against the trend. And, you know, then he gives us these great systems also for taking trades with the trend that explain the number twos, like with the 5-minute trending pink video and Anissa's entries and stuff like that. She has excellent work on that. So I really recommend you try to understand them. And, you know, they're the ones earning the big money. So really understand what they're doing there and what they're saying about it. And someday you can even be a BR and, you know, understand what he's doing about it if you really want to, like that. And when there's nothing great, you know, there in the markets, I think the number 3 is the most powerful because it just tells you, okay, here's a decent level of support and resistance where bulls and bears are waiting, and you get these arrows, that's momentum, and poof, price goes one way or the other. So that's just my understanding of the golden ticket. I'm not the smartest guy in the world by any means, but that's just how I see it. You got that? Y'all happy with that explanation? Yeah, good times. Thanks, MT. Okay. Anybody got any further questions? Up for anything on? I can just ramble on about mind setting, or we can talk about trading stuff. Give you our book recommendations, whatever you guys want. Ask away. Monday. I'm really glad we have Monday back. He's like the funniest, funniest guy around. Okay, how do I start my day? Yeah, this is an important one. So, hesitation. I really want to talk about that too, Anissa. So, I get to that in a sec. So, one thing I start my day for is I still do a lot of mechanical trading. I'm not really to an extent beyond that. I've designed a few systems, and some of them are a bit more complicated, but they have a lot of really high accuracy. So, what I do is I get in the room, I wait for 9 o'clock usually because that's when we get our new 4 hours. So I start with the 4 hour to tell me what's going to go on. So if I get a 4 hour arrow, that's really what tells me, okay, we're going to be looking at a great reversal today. Also today, on a day like today, I often check the 4 hour, levels as a big thing. So like, are we very close to the trend lines on the 1 and 4 hours? Are we very close to the BB bands? Things like that really suggest to me, okay, price is likely going to go in, I try to see it as price is likely to go into an inverse direction if we get some strong momentum later on. So you can take them with like something like the GU today had a little bit of down to start with, but since we were at the 1 and 4 hour BB bands, even like the 8 hour and stuff, like it was pushing some pretty strong levels, so I predicted we'd get a nice little reversal later on. So that's what I looked for. Hesitation, Anissa. I think that this is a huge one. This comes from lack of confidence. I think that people lack a lot of confidence because they are not mechanically, trade. Oh, okay, mind setting. Sounds great, MT. Oh yeah. So when it comes down to it, people really hesitate because they're afraid. And they're really afraid because they built up a pattern of either losing or because they don't understand what's happening and what the edge is, because they don't have simple enough rules. So I think that what everybody needs is something like 3 to 5 steps. Now if the MTs, I'm just gonna throw this out there. If the MTs could write down a simple set of rules that's like 3 to 5 steps, even 7 or something, of exactly what they do, so that a robot could do it, I think that would really be everything that everybody needs, because all you have to do is just execute that. I think that if everybody understands it without any ifs, ands, or buts, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be 60% edge or higher. So if Jazz Fran's got his 99% system and he can, cut it down to basically 3 steps or something, and give us something that's 66% accuracy, it'll change the lives of all the newbies. I don't want to ask Jazz for that though, or else he'll throw me in his basement. So under his basement. Sorry, Cap. Because Jazz Fran's worked hard enough for us. But if anybody feels ready to throw out a system that could be 3 to 5 steps, I'll tell you, I think that is the thing that will change everybody's lives. Okay, Anissa, yeah, simple. 1, go with the trend. Yeah. Okay. Everybody copy down on what Anissa's saying here. But still, yeah. If that's a simple enough rules, then just follow that. Make it mechanical. If you have a specific stop loss, specific take profit, whatever, you can change it up. You can change things with different days, but 3 to 5 steps. Anybody else want to throw that out there? Thank you, Anissa, for doing that. It's going to be helpful. Come on, Jazz. Why you got to put me under the patio? At least put me under the garden so I can, grow into something someday, man. Oof. Oh yeah. So MT though, back to mind setting stuff I do before the day. So I usually try to wake up with like stuff. Oh, okay, Pinky. It was Monday. I get it. So I get it. Jazz Monday. It's a funny guys right there. Okay, anyway, so yeah, so mind setting stuff before the room, you know, it's very, very simple stuff that I do. I usually just wake up. One of my first things that I do is whenever I step out of bed, I do a little uh, gratitude exercise where you like put your feet on the ground and one foot says thank and the other one says you. So you basically thank the universe for this day kind of thing. It can be a little bit cheesy, but it's really effective. So I do that. I do a little visioneering. It's like 5 minutes. You know, MT's 5 minute thing basically. So I do that pretty much every morning just to imagine what the day will bring. So I do that as a wake up kind of thing that really gets me in the right mindset. I do my affirmations every morning in the mirror. That's pretty easy. And then I just kind of get to it. You know, I think that's about all I do to start the day. Sometimes meditation can be useful, but I'm not really great at meditating early in the morning. It requires focus that I just don't have. So, yeah, that is about it. Yeah. So yeah, everybody get down Nisa's rules. Yeah, everybody make sure to get down some of those. Yep. So yeah, I think I'll do my close then, MT. So yeah, what everybody needs to take away from this is that, you know, no matter where you are, if you're the smartest person in the room or, you know, the dumbest, it does not matter, you know. So, like, at the end of the day, we do not need to know everything to be the greatest here. And we really need to, the first step is to really accept where we're at. So if we accept that, you know, I'm somewhere here and I'm not doing well at all or something like that, you know, depending on wherever you are, accept where you are and say that this is good, that you are where you are because this is right. You know, this is where you should be because it could be no other way, because this is where you are right now. If you can accept that, then you can start to move forward. And if you can get a mechanical way of trading, that is really what will make it change for you. Do the mind setting, mechanical trade, and soon enough you will be the greatest. You know, you'll be standing in the Hall of Fame, as they say. So, thanks everybody. It's been great being on, and the Borg MT is out.